Hello there, Ray here, and guys, we have a new way to obtain tons of food in the game of Minecraft. That's right, guys, you've seen that sneak peek of my hoggling farm in the Snapshot dream video. That's exactly what we're going to be showing today. This thing is the new best way to obtain food in the game of Minecraft. And remember, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe, as I make tons of videos over the new snapshots and cool farms you can make using them. And make sure you have your notifications on, that way you can join our Minecraft world as we design up these new farms, right when the new snapshot comes out. And it was a lot of fun designing up this farm with you guys in the last snapshot stream, and we did a lot of testing with the new mobs and made this new hoggling farm. This thing is really OP for getting tons of raw pork as well as leather, and we even made it so that we could automatically get cooked pork out of it as well, which is one of the best food sources in the game of Minecraft. If you'd like to check out all the cool tricks that we discovered while making this farm up as well as other farms, there is a video in the description that goes into that. So one of the first things we notice about the hoglings is that they spawn here in the Crimson Forest biome, which normally looks like this, but we are currently atop the bedrock because that's the ideal place to build this farm. And they have the same spawn rate as piglings, but we notice that piglings actually don't spawn where there is high light levels. And zombie pigmen can also spawn in this biome, but they also don't spawn at high light levels. So by putting in a lot of light here, we are able to only have the hoglings spawn on this platform. Hoglings are also quite large. If we turn on their hitboxes, we're pressing F3 plus B. You can see that they're slightly larger than a single block, except for the babies. So most adults will kind of hang over a little bit on all sides. And because of this, they actually need more room around them than just this block in order to spawn. So if they were trying to spawn here, notice how they would hit up against this wall here. And because of that, they wouldn't actually spawn there. So we wanted to make sure that they can spawn on the spawning space here. So let's put it in some type of block that doesn't interfere with their hitbox. So if we try something that's kind of smaller, like a fence gate here, when you put him in here, you see he doesn't touch any of the edges when he spawns in. Fence gates might be kind of annoying to place in survival, so let's try a different block like fences. So here we got some fences, and we'll test it by putting a hoglin in the center, and you can see it also doesn't touch the edges. We'll use this block to put a little wall around the outside of this. So now the hoglins should be able to spawn on all these spaces here. Now you shouldn't really need these fences to prevent the hoglins from walking off the edge, but it's possible that two of them would kind of push each other and they could shove one off the edge where they would fall down and not die. Then over time they would build up down there. Now to make the hogling go into the lava or even walk in this direction, what we have is one of the blocks that he's afraid of, which is the warped fungi. Similar to the piglings being afraid of the soul fire like in my piglin farm over there, hoglins are also scared of this blue block. They'll do the same kind of checks. So essentially when the hoglin is spawned in, it would check a 8-meter radius around it for any of these. If it sees them, then it'll try to run the opposite direction of those. And then every so often it will check to see how close it is to them and try to run away from them once again. There you can see some guys spawning in the distance. Besides just adults, you can also get baby ones to naturally spawn in, but they will do the same thing by running off the edge. So if a hogling like spawns right here, you'll see one of these two fungi nearby, and then it'll try to run the opposite direction. And we'll choose a location that is within 8 blocks of him and try to move to that location. And what they can do is choose to walk over here, because they see these trapdoors as being a block they can walk over top of, except when they're open like this, even the big guys like this can fall through it just because it is wider than their hitbox. And once they fall through, there is a lot of lava here waiting for them. Because they have 40 hearts, we need 4 layers of lava in order to kill them. That way they kill quite fast and we can have more of them spawn in. You can see by the time they reach the bottom here, they have died, and all their loots are ending up at the very bottom here, and that's what the hopper minecarts are. They'll come by and pick it up, and by having them killed by lava, they will be on fire when they die. This means instead of their pork dropping as raw, like if you just have them drop from fall damage, it will actually make it cooked, which is really cool. So it actually has a double purpose, killing them quite fast, as well as cooking the pork. The new type of wood that comes from the huge fungi is also non-flammable, so you don't have to worry about these fence gates burning. The minecart will take all the items over here, and there is a drop-off system which will drop them into the chest, and you can see all the leather as well as cooked pork that we got from these guys. Cooked pork is one of the best foods you can get in Minecraft. It's in the same level as like steak, but now we can actually obtain it more easily than we would obtain steak in the game. So before, if you want to get a lot of good steak, easily farmed up, you would have to make a mushroom farm, which is quite a bit of clearing the land and removing all the extra mycelium that they will spawn on, and then coming in and building in the farm. Where here, everything is pretty much already cleared out. You just come here on top of the bedrock, and these guys spawn in quite easily since they are a hostile mob cap. Hostile mobs spawn in faster than the passive ones. So unlike mushrooms, which take every 20 seconds to spawn, these guys can spawn in almost every game tick. And just like the pigling farm, when we want to AFK this farm, we want to do it quite high up. That way the mobs down below don't affect the spawning rates. Here you can see some guys are already spawning in and we're not even up high enough. So if you go way up here, you can see how fast they're spawning in down below. They're kind of hard to see, but they are spawning in extremely quickly. That's because they are hostile mobs. You notice how this guy here is actually able to spawn on the actual block with the fungi on it. That's because this spot is a valid location for him to spawn. And since we changed the design of the walls, we forgot to block the spawning space. So just by putting a fence on top of this, it should prevent them from spawning in there. If the game would try to spawn one here, he is colliding with the top there. Big thanks to Cheer Codes for looking into the Minecraft code to figure out exactly how these guys work. This will AFK about 120 blocks above this farm, and you can't really see anything down below. But the mobs are spawning down below. We can see this over here by this entity counter. And if we move down a little bit, we should be able to see them. There they are, spawning in, falling into lava. Even with a really small setup like this, you can see it is quite effective. And you can actually make this as large as you want. So you can put these like back to back. And if you really wanted to, you can even make an entire perimeter down here below the nether in order to put this down quite low, which would increase the spawn rates. And if you don't want mobs to spawn on other stuff, just make sure to put slabs or buttons on it. But it's pretty crazy how easy it is to actually make this farm. You can actually put it in any type of light source you want. You don't have to use jack-o'-lanterns. You could put down some normal cobble and then put some torches on top. And getting these fungi are pretty easy. You can just find them in the biomes, especially the warped forest biome. But you can also trade for them with the new bartering system that the piglins have. So building this up is something someone can do quite early game. And if you're wondering how to easily get above the bedrock, I did do a separate video showing how you guys can do that in survival. If you guys didn't know, I showed a really cool trick which you can do with nether portal, so you can actually access the top of the bedrock by using a nether portal, so you don't have to go through the bedrock each time. The nether portal will take you straight from the overworld to straight on top of the bedrock, and I'll link that video down in the description. So let's clear out these chests and then do a 10-minute test to see how much we get just from this small spawning spot right here. And I'll go AFK up there at the AFK spot. So I did a 30-minute test and looks like it's picking up the last of the items. Let's go check out the storage. Oh wow, a little over a double chest if you put those two together, and it's picking up some more of it too. So that's quite a bit just for a half hour worth of AFKing. And with such a small setup here. So that's over 8,000 items per hour just with one layer. You can also stack this up as well. But definitely think the best way to properly farm these is using my underload farm, which is the fastest nether farm in the game of Minecraft. So definitely look forward to me to making a insane farm with these guys and that farm put together. If you don't know what the underloader is, I'll link it down below. So definitely worth building this in your survival world. That way you have plenty of meat to use. And this thing pretty much has no redstone. We just use the mechanics of them being afraid of the fungi to push them into the lava. And down here, you don't even probably need a hopper minecart if you don't want to. You could just put in some hoppers to collect the items right away. Hopper minecart's a little bit nicer just because it can cover a larger area with lower amounts of hoppers needing to be crafted. We also put a floor down here just in case the little babies that come down, sometimes they can actually fall faster than the adults because their hitboxes are smaller. So they're in the lava a short amount of time, and they could land down here and hit the minecart. So we put this little floor in here. Now, even though the hogling can see a mushroom 8 blocks away, and the hogling will also run up to 8 blocks away from fungi, we didn't make the platforms 8 blocks long. This is because we spaced out the mushrooms every so often, meaning that if there was a hogling that ended up right here, if we made the platform too wide, he wouldn't recognize the fungi and wouldn't run this direction. This also saves a number of fungi you have to place in, and you really don't lose that much room along here as well. And we also left a little extra because they do have to try to walk farther than just a trapdoor. Otherwise, they could just stand like here, and they could be just on the edge and just stop there and not keep moving. If you want to cheapen up on this build here, you can put the fungi on other types of grass-like blocks. So something like dirt works just fine, because you probably have a lot of dirt with you rather than having a lot of this nelium. Now, the lava down here doesn't have to be an entire source. You can kind of spread it out, and that way you can save on how much lava you have to put into the system. And in the nether, lava will actually flow quite far. So you could place like lava on one end of the farm, and let it creep across the entire thing, and then put some support blocks underneath of this. And then once you remove the support blocks, all the lava will flow downwards, and it'll work exactly the same as if this whole thing was source blocks. So you can have about one lava source every 16 blocks. Now to get the rails early game, you can also make them fairly easy just with a gold farm, or if you want to, you can use a rail duper. And I have a whole video going over those, which I'll link below. Overall, I think this is going to be the new way to obtain lots of food in the game of Minecraft, because it can easily be done early game, and it's better than having like a cooked chicken farm. And even making a small one of these would be tens of times better than having a chicken farm. So make sure to share this with your friends so they know about an easy way to obtain tons of cooked pork in 1.16. And if you're looking for more farms that you can easily do in Minecraft, I have a whole playlist dedicated to simple farms, which you can find down in the description. And if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to go ahead and leave it a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.